so we should begin. Thank you so much, everyone, for dialing into this webinar series, Industry Goes Digital. I'm Atul Patel. I'm your moderator for today. Today, we are going to talk about how pioneering a digital transformation in the natural resources industry. And I'll introduce my esteemed speakers. In fact, we got two of them today from OCP. This webinar series is series of events which we are going to run on a monthly basis, picking different industry segment and what leaders in those industries are doing globally, using some of the advanced technologies such as enterprise blockchain and marrying that with the traditional digital roadmap, and how they are frontier in their own regards, but now how the technology is helping them to achieve the operational benefits of efficiency improvement, cost reduction, and saving some working capital cycle. So we'll talk about that. So today I have a pleasure of having two key sponsors, if you will, from OCP. Farah Lahbib, she's the Director of Credit Management and Trade Finance Export at the group level. And I'll later on talk about OCP and the size of the OCP. For those who are not familiar about OCP, they are the largest phosphate company in the world. And I'll talk a little bit more about their scope in the next slide. But Farah comes with more than 25 years of experience all across the different finance transformation areas: cash management, risk, credit, structure trade, financing, and really looking at how the large multinational companies with multi-continent operation needs to lead their finance transformation. I had the pleasure of working with her, meeting her, and really seeing her in action in terms of how she drives the leadership. So it's my pleasure to have you here. She has been in OCP for longest time, and she's really driving this initiative directly sponsored under the CEO's office. We also have Khalid Madidi. Khalid looks after the risk assessment, which is probably the significant function in the trade finance team, from looking at how to manage the risk in the areas from a credit point of view, as well as when your operation is global. How can you kind of structure the trade finance? How can you manage the working capital with the lowest amount of risk? And I also had the pleasure of meeting Khalid, and I worked with him very closely and his team over the last 3 years in the journey that they've been in. And I found Khalid to be one of the top-notch risk professionals that I've ever come across in my life. And I spent a significant amount of time working with large enterprise software companies and their finance functions, and certainly a lot of risk people that I've seen are kind of behind the scene type of a guy. But I think Khalid is an exception, and it's a pleasure to have you here as well, Khalid. So Farah and Khalid, welcome both of you to this interesting kind of concept where we are trying to, get you to kind of share a little bit about what you've been doing and how you're moving forward. So welcome both of you, and I'll get an opportunity to speak to both of you as we move forward. So with that, I would probably just get some introduction from Farah and Khalid before I move into my presentation. Yes, Farah, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure being with you today. Thank you, Atul, for the great introduction. We are more than happy to share this information and our project with all the persons who are present with us today. So briefly, OCP is headquartered in Morocco, and OCP Group is one of the world's largest companies in the world that are leading the mining and the rock within the 5 continents in the world. So here you have a presentation of OCP SA Group. And maybe we're gonna share more details about our group and the main action that the group is doing, mainly in Africa, and all the leading project that we are managing within the group. So Khalid, if you can just explain more details, what is who is OCP and what we are doing within the trade finance team to the team that are present with us today. Thank you.
Yeah,
well, thank you very much. Thanks for Farah, and thanks Atul for the nice introduction. I just wanted to say I'm also very happy to work with you very closely on our different projects, and I think you are outstanding professional, and we're very happy with the partnership that we're having with DLT. And we already said so many thanks to you guys and to the team. So we reiterate the thanks again to you and the team, and for the support and the assistance that we got from you all throughout the projects that we worked on. So just to give you a brief description of OCP. OCP, as Atul said, is one of the largest phosphate-based producers in the world. So with the turnover, a yearly turnover of around $11 billion as of 2022. We basically mine phosphates, and we manufacture fertilizers and phosphoric acid that we sell across the 5 continents. Of course, the fertilizers used are mainly used and bought by large either large distributors or large industrial companies for their inputs, or to be resold to farmers. Again, so here we want to talk about our experience with DLT. And how blockchain technology was very useful for OCP, especially as it pertains to trade finance. Again, so we started with DLT back in 2020, if my memory right, or just a little bit before Q4 2019, the discussion started with DLTledgers. So the discussions were back then started to integrate a large deal that we were having in Africa, in Ethiopia. So the deal that we're having with an Ethiopian client, it's a state-owned company called EABC, and the deal is around $500 million a year. So what we do, we sell to this Ethiopian clients using letter of LC or letter of credit as a bank instrument. Back then, before our discussions with DLT, as you might know, letters of credits involves a lot of documents, handling of documentations. It's a long process. It's a heavy process as well. It's a heavy paper-based process for OCP to prepare all the export documents from Morocco, to be, those documents to be shipped to a bank. That's the bank that will be used to approve the transaction. So that was quite heavy. So this is why we discussed with DLT to see how we could optimize that process and make it more efficient.
Yeah.
And these are the discussion we had, and of course that was pretty advantageous for us as well. So
Thank you, Khalid. I will obviously give you an opportunity to share, because I think you do have provided some inputs in terms of what actual case study is. So we'll get to that. But just to give my impression about the OCP group and what I liked about them, they are the largest company out of Morocco, obviously, but they have operations in 5 continents, right? And based on the 3 different S curves that you see here, we are on the 3rd S curve, where the key from the management is to look at sustainability, look at how cost leadership, and really digital and farmer services, right? So interesting aspect from us to partner with OCP is also to see, how we could work as in conjunction with what the board priorities are, specifically related to sustainability, as well as related to our digital and farmer services, and how we can be more integrated, if you will, into that. So exciting really to work with you and the group. And this is really where we saw some of the initiatives that OCP is driving, as I just talked about, from a digital disruption point of view, farmer intimacy and sustainability. And really, Farah and Khalid, as you talked about it, you are kind of looking at how the technology like blockchain can help in these areas to move forward. So maybe I'll give it back to Farah to just talk about the genesis of this partnership, and how kind of you got the buy-in, because one of the most difficult things that I see around the world is to obtain the buy-in from management, and what kind of challenges you face to get the buy-in, and how you kind of instrumental to get this thing going with the team approach that you kind of demonstrated over the years. So Farah, your comments on this, please.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for giving us this opportunity to lead the first African transactions in blockchain, using the blockchain technology in Africa. And that was a huge execution for us in terms of leading the first blockchain technology in Africa. So we were more than happy to lead these projects with you, DLT, because we chose you and we were happy to work with you for many reasons. I remember the first time I met you, it was in South Africa. Right. And I was excited to learn more about what you have been done within the sugar industry in Ethiopia. That's and right. Once I came back to the headquarters in Morocco, I told my top management, there is an exciting journey that the LT is doing within the commodity sector. And would you allow me to explore as a pilot this project with them? And I was happy to have the green line from OCP top management. And that was the beginning of the journey within DLT. And to be honest, since 2019, we have been doing a great job here in Morocco, and also to create an ecosystem around the technology in Africa. So let me tell you why we are kind to work with DLT. To be honest, we have an expertise around the technology. We have the agility that we are looking at, and also we have expertise and experts around the blockchain in Singapore. And when you take all these ingredients, you cannot you can only succeed a project within them. And this is what was exciting. Working with you guys is a really an excitement journey, and we are more than happy to continue this journey within the Moroccan ecosystem, and also to bring into the project other companies, other banks, and also all the parties that are involved in our sector, the financial sector globally. Thank you, awesome. Atul.
Thank you. And maybe you could also share a little bit further about the overall digital roadmap that you see at your level, and then before we go specific from Khalid in terms of the case study.
Yeah, from a high level perspective, our roadmap is divided into three axes. The first one is to reduce our working capital cycle and achieve operational efficiency by digitizing internal and external trade operations. The second one is to integrate and create product differentiation in our market, and to launch many initiatives on that level. And the third one is to build and easy doing business within our partners. And this is the three pillars that we are working on to bring to our sector a full picture of the digitalization's journey within OCP.
Excellent. And then I've seen it in firsthand, Farah, when I visited Morocco last year, about how different cross-functional teams have got a series of opportunity to improve, not just to work within the cross-functional team, but also to work with business partners. So creating and initiating an OCP network, I think, has been the biggest success that I could see, and we will continue to grow on that. So thank you for that. That kind of allows me to go into the actual case study of OCP, and I would request Khalid if you can just talk a little bit about the experience from the day one and where we are, and if you can walk us through this, that'd be great, Khalid. Over to you, Khalid.
Sure. Thanks, Atul. So basically, as I said earlier, we believe that blockchain is a must when it comes to trade finance, especially after we experienced the benefits of using blockchain technology in trade. So I just give you a bit of the context. We started discussion back in 2019, end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And well, ironically enough, we're not expecting COVID. So that was such, the cherry on a cake, because we just prepared the ground to kind of face COVID, a lot of the COVID challenges. So this is why, I mean, we kind of had the discussions. We thought about involving the Ethiopian, or having the Ethiopian trade executed in dltledgers platform that uses blockchain technology. As I said, the transaction was just in Ethiopia. It's just a sales. We sell fertilizers to our Ethiopian client EABC through letters of credit, and of course those letters of credit. It involves a lot of documents preparation. And part of one of the key steps in a trade process, or in a trade export process, is to courier those documents via DHL to the bank. In our case, it's the bank that finances OCP, because we sell on payment terms. It's in this case 90 days. Well, in 90 days payment terms. So we don't want to take the risk to wait for 90 days. So that's why we ask our bank, or our partner bank, to discount that letter of credit, so to get the money or the funds as soon as they receive those documents, so that we don't wait the 90 days. So basically, during COVID, this is where we started. You remember, Atul?
Yes.
There was like a huge problem in the DHL service. So basically, for us to courier or to send the documents from Morocco to our partner, in this case TDB, it's a large multilateral bank based in Kenya. In normal times, it takes, well, maximum 5 working days, but in COVID times, it took 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So as we know, the bank will not discount that letter of credit, will not get the money unless they receive those documents. So that was an issue because it had an impact on our treasury, and we couldn't just. It was just problematic. So that's why blockchain came into the scene, and DLT ledgers came into the scene. So those documents were actually uploaded in DLT ledgers platform and kind of scrutinized and received through that platform by our partner bank. So and then the decision to discount that letter of credit or to finance OCP was taken in less than 2 hours versus 6 weeks in COVID times. So you could just imagine the impact on treasury is huge, especially when we talk about a deal that is worth $500 million. So that were just like one deal, $500 million, known that from 2020 till 2023, that deal grew from $500 million to $1.3 billion.
Awesome.
So yes, so basically and we could see the benefits. The benefits were quite actually very concrete, and it kind of feeds into our objectives when it comes to OCP's digitalization strategy. So one of the main pillars of OCP was to kind of digitize cross-border trade. So most of our trade exports, especially those that are backed by bank instruments such as letter of credits, we wanted them to be digitized. And also part of that is to, again, we want to build a large network. So we want to invite different participants into the blockchain platform. So for this Ethiopia deal, there was only there was two partners. There was the financing bank, TDB, and also there was our advising bank, which is a Moroccan local bank, Tijari Bank, and also BCP. But the objective is to extend this business network to other bank partners and also to clients, and maybe, of course, and to other parties that are involved in the trade. And I will speak about that later.
Yeah.
Again, when we talk about digitization of the trade process, we also we should also tackle the process itself and the cost efficiencies when it comes to handling the trade process. So that was, again, an objective that has been achieved through the DLT ledgers, and of course, just by having those three objectives that I mentioned earlier, it would just make OCP kind of a leader when it comes to digitization, so that other peers or other companies within OCP's ecosystems get inspired and involved in blockchain as well.
Perfect. I think you shared quite a few about this as well, but maybe
yes, yeah.
Summarize.
Here, just to actually make the participants aware of, for those who don't know how a trade process is managed. So if in the left hand side of the screen, you could look at the traditional trade finance transaction. So it involves so many many actors. You have the seller, of course, and the buyer. In this case, OCP is the seller, is an exporter, and the buyer is EABC. For example, we took, if we refer to the Ethiopian deal, and you also have different banks that are involved in the scheme, and you have the shipping company, the inspection companies, and maybe other parties can be involved in the trade transaction. So it is safe to say it is quite a complicated, complex process to handle. So that's in the right hand side, and I mean, if you look at the if in the left, we go back to the traditional one, you have too many interactions with different parties. So these interactions, it's actually very heavy to handle. It involves a lot of paper-based document preparation. It's in a lot of communications between the different parties, and it kind of results in a lot of inefficiencies when it comes to expediting that trade process.
Yeah.
In the right hand side, you have the blockchain-based trade finance transaction, where all those parties kind of communicate and exchange through a blockchain platform. In this case, the dltledgers blockchain platform. It makes it much more easier for all the parties involved to share data, share documents, and approve the documents of each other. So that through that process, this process is more streamlined, it is more structured and organized, and it's kind of it allows a lot of cost efficiencies and also a time saving. So here, through this blockchain trade process, the only prerequisite I would say is to kind of set up some sort of a workflow between all those parties, and through that workflow, everything is kind of gets smoother afterward when it comes to exchange with different parties. And this is what we've done actually with TDB and our as a financing bank, and also with our advising banks, Tijari Wafa Bank and BCP.
Awesome.
So that's again. So yeah. So through that, from 2020 to 2023, as I said, there was like $1.3 billion of transactions, of trade transactions, that has been executed in the blockchain platform. And the benefit that we got were quite interesting and very important. So one of the main benefits that we got is that we gained on average 11 days in terms of treasury opportunity costs. So that was very beneficial to OCP's treasury. So, and we could have we'd be very happy with this, especially this benefit. Again, there was like an 80% reduction, massive reduction in documents handling time through a blockchain. There was also a trust that has been reinforced through, the main benefits of using blockchain technology, which is security and the security and the confidentiality of the platform, because it's using a very strong and strict technology when using blockchain. And of course, it's our user experience, because we managed to learn a lot from our experience with DLT, and also it helped us to structure our trade process and manage it in a smoother way, I'd say.
Awesome. What are the challenges, Khalid? Looks everything was great, but there must be some challenges.
Yeah. There was, of course, some challenge. I mean, there is a challenge that I didn't mention here in the slide, but I would probably add it. The challenge is that to set up the workflow. Remember, Atul, it was quite tough, because fortunately we didn't have like some sort of a manual that references how a trade process is structured. So we had to start from scratch to kind of define a trade process from A to Z. So that was quite a challenge that I think we managed it quite well at the beginning. Of course, it took some time to set up that workflow, but once it's set, then you could just replicate all trades that you have, just not just the Ethiopian trade. Other trades could be easily replicated into that trade workflow. And again, I mean, so I'll here speak more specifically on the challenges in the fertilizers industry, and also the agri-food sector, which is kind of related and linked to the fertilizers industry. One of the big challenges that we have is the lack of trust between the value chain players. So that was something that's blockchain kind of eases and handles quite well. So kind of if it's facilitated or just promotes that trust among the value chain players, which is a good thing. But and again, you have, as I said earlier, one of the biggest challenges is that it's a paper heavy process when you're involved in when you are handling trade documents. And also another challenge is that there is like a lack of transparency, and also the many problems that most smallholders face, such as the lack of credit history, and also digital identities, and all the data that is related to smallholders, that kind of renders the credit risk decisions quite hard to take. Again, so if we would like to kind of categorize those challenges into different, I would say, segments. So basically, one of the main challenges is the supply chain efficiencies that need to be tackled. And blockchain, of course, facilitates that. Again, you have another challenge, which is the consumer or brand trust. So that was again a big challenge to handle, and of course, which is mainly related to cross-border trade, is payments and contracts. So it's especially it is a big challenge to face. And once we have, like, of course, those challenges are tackled, then of course things are much smoother afterward.
Awesome. Let me move to the next slide. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Farah.
Yeah, I just want to add something important here is the role of the confirming bank in this process. And I want just to thank TDB for their vision and their support to us as a team to follow up on the transactions and to help us succeed in this project. So this is the first, and also our notifying bank who are BCP and Tijeri. They were open to listen to our needs, and they were leading with us this journey to improve the main objectives behind this project. And one more thing, as Khalid mentions, the most important thing is to work together to reduce the trade finance gaps that we are facing in Africa in general. And we are aware that those kinds of innovations and projects could help us to tackle the trade finance gap in Africa.
Yeah, no, that's great, Farah. If I can also ask Farah or Khalid, maybe either of you can comment. The steps, like it is a multi-year journey, but if you look at the steps that kind of has taken from that innovation to executing the $1.4 billion of trade, how would you summarize this? I mean, is this something that, if you have to do it again, what would be the advice you would give it to other companies who are looking to get started in this journey, given that we have a global audience in the call today?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to try just to choose a small use case first. So we were aware that those kinds of projects are big to tackle, and the best way to do things is just to start with a small business case, to validate it internally, and then to move to speed up the process then internally, so that you can have a huge project to handle after. So this is the first, I think, advice that we could share on that project. So use a small use case and then duplicate it and make it make it bigger for your internal team. Second thing is the team. It's important to start this project as a team. And within OCP, we had the chance to work hand on hand within the commercial teams, the digital office, who help us a lot in all the in the project at a high level, but also in an operational way, to tackle all the security, the data transparency, the data confidentiality, etc. And also with the legal team to study the framework in a legal perspective, and to see all the regulatory compliance in terms of what was being done within this project. So I think the budget is the last thing. It's not really the point, but one more time, just keep in mind that it's feasible. It's not impossible. It's a journey. And we should start now, if I can summarize the experience.
Absolutely, and that makes sense. Like the steps that you took, right, to really do the innovation in 2019, and then start to build the network and set up the small use case with the business process, like what Khalid mentioned, and then enabling the team. I think I would really call out from what we have seen. The team that Khalid has is outstanding in terms of picking up what the platform would require, which obviously a change of their day-to-day activity, and also getting the business partner to onboard also requires a sort of a forward-looking thinking within the team. So I really kudos to your team, Khalid, and your team, Farah, to really make that happen, because without that, the enable step that you see here would not happen. And then obviously, prove the experience.
That's okay.
Slowly. Maybe you can comment a little bit more on that piece, and then rest of the slide here, Khalid.
Sure.
If you have anything to comment,
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, and this is in this slide. I mean, shows a little bit OCP's transformation journey, especially when digital, I would say, digital transformation journey. So again, this journeys, and also one of our goals when using blockchain technology through the dltledgers was to innovate, just find some new ways to handle a process and to kind of reduce our cost. So financially, it was a good fit. Again, to achieve that, we could not achieve that unless we are building a good network. So here, we were very successful in identifying the business partners that are ready, who are willing to embark on a blockchain experience with OCP. Of course, identifying the partner is easy, but it is much harder to have that partner on board. Because as I believe the technology is still new to many companies. So it probably it will take some time for us, DLT and OCP, to onboard a sufficient number of partners to grow our network and to reduce all costs for all partners. So that's again something that is key in the journey. Of course, the business process was, as I said earlier, was key. So they started that from scratch, and of course we will keep improving that process through time. But I think we set a good ground for that business process for future trades and for enabling, of course, future trades to happen and to take place. And this actually kind of turned out to be successful because we were actually able to execute large deals into the platform and achieve a lot of efficiencies through using blockchain technology. And of course, we are rates in the near future. So that's our aim and objective and goal that we're setting for ourselves as well.
Awesome. So that just brings me to the final slide, which talks about the business value assessment, and then I could just talk about what Khalid said earlier, right? About the 11 days saving on the treasury cost for a $1.4 billion trade business. And those who are in the trade finance would know what the interest rates are. And that is significant case saving that, the OCP is experiencing. Obviously, it has taken them some time to get there, but that certainly is a saving that I could see it. But there's also a lot of intangibles, Farah, in terms of how you have to convince different parties before they can see the tangibles in terms of the savings. So this is probably a great representation of what the non-dollar return and the dollar return and the investment made across the different KPIs that you put together at the start of the project to really assess what I call it in kind of a crude way, business value assessment. But I think it's pretty good way of representing this. And thank you again for leading to come out with these indicators and allowing our teams to work on this. So your comments, Farah, on the qualitative one and the quantitative one, and if there's anything that you want to communicate to the team here on the call.
I think everything everything has been done within the team is great, and we thank you all of that. I know that there is people that are working behind the scene very hard to make things happen, and I want just to thank them for that. And as you mentioned, we cannot calculate the gains behind the technology. It's a must. I think it's a must. It's a journey, and we are in the same train, and we should work together hand on hand to make things happen for the future. And right. It's endless advantages that you have behind this technology. You cannot imagine.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And what I've seen is obviously this sets the foundation for us to look at other use cases as we move forward and kind of expand that. And that's sort of also kind of seen in a way where kind of you're looking at already, like while you're in 2023, you kind of already looked at what your goals would be, which is really interesting to see the 70% of all exports to be covered and opening up the other use cases other than the LC discounting, other finance use cases and supply chain use cases, and really leading this as a digital consolidation platform as part of your overall digital roadmap. It's really outstanding. So I know that we are pretty close to the time. So I just wanted to kind of close off with a couple of key points, just those who kind of wanted to see the solution in detail. But I think as Khalid talked about, the visibility, the collaboration, the provenance, the track and trace, the digitally consented documents that different business partners would straight away get, auditability and security, and intuitive, it's easy to use. So I must say that none of the team in Khalid's team is technology gurus, right? So they're all business people, but they were able to use this fairly easy, and that kind of kudos to again our engineering and product team to build and customer success team to train the team to really get that kind of feedback. So that's outstanding. And I think from an end-to-end digitization point of view, I think working capital cycle was mentioned by Khalid. Turnaround time was also mentioned in terms of reducing number of days that used to take during the difficult times of pandemic, and now how quickly you could turn that around. Some of the areas where you see increasing focus is on the sustainability, which is something that we are beginning to just unpack now, and we will do more as we look to do some more workshops in terms of foundation for sustainability related use cases, and really a network for the future. So this is probably the final slide. I think this is what it is. It is indeed a final slide. So if there are any summary comments for before we open it up for Q&A, that would be great for Farah and Khalid. And then opening up for questions. So those want to open, maybe raise your hands up, and Manoj or one of us, one of my team members would allow you to kind of unmute your microphone, and then you would be able to ask the question. If you have a question that you feel shy to ask, you want to put it in the chat as well. But before that, yes, any final comments, Farah, and first, and then Khalid, in terms of the presentation today and your experience and your digital journey moving forward.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for this adventure and this exceptional journey within OCP. You have been doing a great work for us, and we are more than happy to continue this journey with you. And also, I think we have another role to play here is to extend the network to other players within the industry globally, and also within the financial institutions. And the other job that we are doing right now with Khalid is to extend the knowledge to universities and to other Moroccan exporters, to let this technology more known by the Moroccan population. So, and we know that you are helping us to do this. So thank you for that, and thank you for spreading up this knowledge to the Moroccan the Moroccan ecosystem. Thank you, Atul.
Thank you so much, Farah. And Khalid, any closing comment from your side before we open it for any questions?
Yes, well, I would like just to thank you, Atul, and also the team. They're like an outstanding team that works in DLT. Of course, the project was not easy from our side, but I think it was very easy for you to handle that. From our side, it was not easy, but we managed it very successfully, and we're very happy with this achievement. Of course, it was like a huge teamwork from your side and also from our side, from the digital office, as Farah said, from the sales team, the legal teams. So that was a very kind of nice project to work on. Again, when we talk about blockchain, for us, one of the key goals for us is to extend our network. So the extended network is paramount for us to succeed, to continue succeeding in our digital transformation journey.
Right.
And of course, as Farah said, I mean, we want to involve a lot of participants when it comes to blockchain. So that's of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, no, that extending the network, I think, you see here, that's, I think, the first key parameter I think you mentioned, right? The network building, which is significant in terms of the non-dollar return, but I think it's a long term. So once you build the network will remain with you, right? As a leader in your segment, you would only build onto the network that you already built on right now with, set of 5 banks within Morocco and international banks that you're looking to expand across parts of Africa. And also with your joint venture into North America, the conversations that you're already having with North American bank and also getting them on board, that will only help you to build. So that's fantastic takeaway for people on the call. So I think I've just left with 5 minutes. If there are any questions on the chat, Manoj, if there are any questions, or if there's anybody who wants to ask a question, can you just help them to unmute and they can ask the question. Or if anyone else has a question as well, just raise your hand so that Manoj can help you unmute so that you can then ask the question.
Sure.
While we wait for the questions, we did not talk. Yeah, I think there is a question from Shine. So maybe, Manoj, if you can help him unmute. Or Shine, if you can unmute yourself, you are able to do so, then you can go ahead with your question.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Hey, hi, Khaled and Farah. Thanks for that wonderful session. It was really nice to hear the endorsements from your end. And really happy to hear, our customers are happy in terms of the service that we deliver. My question, typically when we interact with customers, see the challenge is to, of course, in a multi-party context, definitely there would be a primary sponsor who would want to, an early adopter who would want to improvise and institutionalize this technology where they understand the value of having a single source of truth across the board. And to your point, Khaled, how you reduce the time from a treasury standpoint from 6 weeks to 2 hours. It's actually, I mean, that's a power this technology gives you, having everyone on a shared ledger. But again, from an adoption standpoint, I understand you had pioneered or you had actually you understood the need for this. How difficult was the journey, or how easy was the journey to convince other partners to follow you and join the network? Because this would be a great learning for us when we actually propose similar solutions to our other customers. I just wanted to understand some experience from you, how you managed to convince your partners to join in this journey and get them in this together execution mode. Thank you.
Well, Shine, thanks a lot for this question. It is very interesting, actually, question to answer. It is actually, when it comes to building network, of course, it's not an easy task, and the partners need to see the value, and the value perception differs from one partner to the other, and as you can see here in this slide, there are some partners who value the long-term impact, and others who just value the short-term impact. So for OCP, I mean, of course, we give so much value to the long-term impacts, but of course we benefited from the short-term impact as well. So as an exporter, the value just definitely there, as you mentioned, we reduced our working capital cycle from by 11 days on average, which is kind of standard. But here the other partners, for example, if we look at the bank, in this case TDB was the bank was discounted who discounted the LC, and it's a financing bank for OCP. They get the value as well, because they can manage to discount the letter of credit well before time, and that's a very huge gain for TDB. So it was very easy, I guess, for TDB to get involved in a blockchain trade. Again, if we look at the advising bank, which is the exporter bank, which is just simply, their role in a trade process is kind of limited to send. They are the one who sends the export documents to the financing bank, and also they kind of announce the funds when they are received. So these are like the two main functions of an advising bank in a trade process. And of course, they could. It was quite beneficial for them as well to kind of be very efficient when it comes to the trade process, because they are it is streamlined from their side. So this trade process is becoming digital for them, which is quite effective for an advising bank. Again, for the banks, most of the banks that we talked to, Farah and I, they actually value the long-term impact more than the short-term impact. So this is when you are probably want to work on building a network. So basically, the banks are an easier target. So they are the easiest target. The hardest target are the buyers. So the clients needs, of course, needs more. We need probably more efforts to make the clients convinced about the value. But of course, some of the clients they kind of value the short-term impact when it comes to streamlining the trade process. So if like a client is willing to digitize the trade process, then of course I'm quite pretty sure that blockchain technology will come across as very useful to them.
Thank you.
Again, Atul, just one thing when it comes to parties. So we talked about banks and buyers, but there are other parties such as for example, shipping companies and inspection service providers. These are it would be harder to get this on board, and this is why we're putting them as a target by 2025, and because they are more linked to, because they are more exposed to regulatory, I would say, constraints. So that's why it's very hard to get them involved. So I think it will be much easier to get them involved if the whole regulatory framework relating to trade is modified, is altered. Then I believe it will be much easier to get them on board.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm
Khalid.
also Thank you, Shine, for that question. And I'm also mindful of the time because we are like 3 minutes over. Is there any other question, Manoj, that do we have on the chat, or is there anyone else who has raised their hand?
Nothing, Atul, so far.
Great.
Anyone,
Great.
please?
That's great. So I think I want to respect the time because it's like 4 minutes over. So appreciate everyone to tuning. I want to thank Farah and Khalid. I know it's been difficult to schedule the time, but really appreciate you giving us your time. Specifically, Farah, you just coming back from your vacation. Appreciate that, and appreciate your leadership in the partnership, and Khalid, yeah, your excellent presentation today. Appreciate the sharing, and appreciate everyone who have sent their confirmation, and those who are not able to join, they can always listen to recording. If you have a question directly to how the OCP's transformation journey, you could see the Farah's email here. Feel free to reach out to her directly. If you have a question about how do you get started on your traceability, sustainability, or financing journey, please send a note to me. I'll be happy to support. But hopefully this has been useful, and we'll all see you next month for the next webinar that we are going to schedule on an exciting topic, and that would be made available to all of you by end of this week, early next week. And looking forward to speak to all of you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Cheers.